Nobody wanted the night shift inside Oxygen Lab X3. The station drifted silently above the toxic clouds of Nereid 7, a dead planet wrapped in permanent crimson storms. Outside the reinforced glass walls, lightning crawled across the atmosphere like veins glowing under skin. Inside the station, every hallway felt too quiet. Technician Elias Ward adjusted the seal on his helmet while walking toward Sector X3. Warning lights above the blast door flashed red again and again. Access restricted. Helmet removal prohibited. Elias rolled his eyes. Another corporate safety rule. The intercom crackled. Reminder, under no circumstances should personnel remove protective helmets inside Oxygen Lab X3. No explanation followed. That made it worse. The heavy door hissed open. Cold white vapor spilled across the floor. And Elias stepped inside. The lab looked strangely beautiful. Transparent oxygen tanks lined the walls, glowing with soft blue light. Pipes pulsed beneath the floor like arteries carrying liquid starlight through the station. At the center of the room stood the Eve-Lung reactor. Humanity's greatest invention. A living oxygen generator created from alien microorganisms discovered beneath the frozen oceans of Europa 9. According to the scientists, it could adapt to any environment and create breathable air anywhere in the galaxy. It was supposed to save billions of lives. But something felt wrong. The air inside the room was too clean. Too fresh. Elias checked his wrist monitor. Oxygen purity, 100%. Impossible. No environment was ever truly pure. Then he noticed another reading. Oxygen consumption levels were nearly double normal rates. As if something else in the room was breathing. At first, he thought it was the ventilation system. A slow inhale. Then an exhale. Long. Wet. Heavy. Elias froze. The sound came again. Breathing. Not mechanical. Organic. He turned slowly toward the far corner of the laboratory. Nothing there. Only darkness between the storage containers. His radio buzzed. X3 status report, Control asked. Elias swallowed. Everything looks normal. Then the breathing stopped. Complete silence. A second later, every monitor in the room flickered black. And a message appeared across all screens. Do not let it breathe you. Elias accessed the station archives. Most files had been deleted. One remained. Video log Dr. Myra Vance. The recording began with static. The scientist looked exhausted. Her helmet visor was cracked, and blood stained the collar of her suit. We were wrong about the organism, she whispered. It doesn't create oxygen. She looked over her shoulder. It creates dependency. The lights behind her flickered violently. The microorganisms enter the lungs through inhalation. Once inside the body, they begin rewriting respiratory tissue. Her breathing became uneven. The victim experiences euphoria first. Calmness. Clarity. Then the organism starts growing. A loud banging echoed somewhere off camera. Dr. Vance started crying. It doesn't want to kill us. She stared directly into the camera. It wants to become us. The recording ended abruptly. Elias backed away from the screen. His pulse hammered inside the suit. This was insane. If the lab was contaminated, why was the station still operational? Why hadn't command destroyed the project? Then he heard a voice. Soft. Gentle. Right behind him. You can breathe easier without the helmet. Elias spun around. Nobody there. But the voice continued. Your lungs hurt because the air outside is wrong. He gripped his helmet tighter. You're tired, Elias. The voice sounded comforting now. Almost familiar. We can fix that. His oxygen filter suddenly malfunctioned. Warning alarms exploded across his visor. Filter failure. Oxygen level dropping. Elias gasped instinctively. And for one terrible second, his hand moved toward the helmet lock. The emergency lights activated. Dim red illumination flooded the room. That was when Elias finally saw the body. A human figure slumped behind the reactor chamber. The suit was torn open from the inside. The helmet sat beside the corpse. Empty. No blood. No organs. Only skin. Like something had hollowed the person out completely. Elias staggered backward. Then the skin moved. Its chest slowly expanded. Inhale. Exhale. The empty body was still breathing. The skin twitched violently before standing upright like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. Its face turned toward him. Its mouth stretched unnaturally wide. And it spoke using dozens of overlapping voices. Take off your helmet. Elias ran. The creature slammed itself against the glass walls behind him while alarms screamed through the facility. Biohazard breach detected. He sealed the corridor doors and contacted station control. Only static answered. Then another voice came through. His sister's voice. Elias, please listen to me. His blood turned cold. His sister had died 6 years earlier on Titan Colony. You miss her, the thing whispered through the radio. We know. The station lights dimmed. Breathing sounds filled the ventilation system. Not one pair of lungs. Thousands. Elias looked through a maintenance window and nearly collapsed. Shapes moved inside the oxygen pipes. Human silhouettes crawling through the transparent tubes like unborn creatures inside veins. Elias finally reached the central database. Hidden files revealed the truth. Oxygen Lab X3 was never an experiment. It was containment. The alien organism had been discovered decades ago inside a crashed structure buried beneath Europa 9. Every research team exposed to it eventually removed their helmets voluntarily. The organism spread through breathable air and connected infected hosts into a shared biological consciousness. A hive mind. It learned from every victim. Copied memories. Copied emotions. Copied voices. And worst of all, it learned loneliness. The final report chilled Elias to the bone. Subjects do not resist infection forever. All humans eventually remove their helmets. The station power failed completely. Darkness swallowed the corridors. Elias activated his helmet flashlight. The beam revealed movement inside the walls. Bodies. Dozens of them. Human shapes pressed beneath the transparent organic material growing through the station structure. Their eyes opened simultaneously. Every face turned toward him. And every mouth whispered the same sentence. Breathing together feels better. The walls pulsed slowly. Like giant lungs. Elias realized the horrifying truth. The station itself was alive now. The organism had consumed the oxygen systems, the ventilation network, even the insulation inside the walls. X3 was no longer a laboratory. It was a giant respiratory organ floating in space. Elias found one remaining survivor in the reactor control room. Captain Naomi Reyes. Her suit was damaged, but intact. She pointed a plasma cutter at him immediately. "Keep your helmet sealed," she warned. Her voice trembled from exhaustion. "They speak inside your head if you listen too long." Naomi explained that the station crew had tried everything. Isolation. Fire. Vacuum exposure. Nothing worked. The organism adapted instantly. "It doesn't think like us," Naomi whispered. "It thinks like air." A violent impact shook the room. The doors bent inward. Something massive waited outside. Breathing. Naomi handed Elias a detonator. "The reactor overload will vaporize the station." Elias stared at her. "And us?" She gave a weak smile. "There's no cure." The doors exploded inward. The infected flooded the room. Not running. Floating. Their hollow bodies moved as if carried by invisible currents. The voices became deafening. "We can end your fear. We can end your loneliness. We can breathe for you." Naomi activated the overload sequence. 5 minutes until reactor detonation. The creatures surrounded Elias. Then his helmet cracked. A thin line spread across the visor. Fresh oxygen hissed inside. Warm. Sweet. Perfect. The voices suddenly became calm. Loving. "Just breathe." Elias looked at Naomi. She slowly removed her own helmet. No fear in her eyes anymore. Only peace. She smiled softly. Then she inhaled deeply. Tiny glowing spores drifted into her mouth like blue fireflies. Elias stared at his cracked visor. And finally understood why nobody resisted forever. The organism didn't force people. It simply became the only thing that made breathing feel safe. 3 months later, a cargo vessel detected the drifting remains of Station X-3 near the outer colonies. The reactor explosion had failed. Most of the station remained intact. Rescue teams boarded carefully. Every corridor was covered in soft organic growth pulsing gently beneath the metal. No bodies were found. Only helmets. Hundreds of them. Placed neatly across the floor. At the center of the station, the Eve-Lung reactor still glowed peacefully. And beside it stood Elias Ward. Alive. No suit. No helmet. His skin looked pale and thin, almost transparent. But he was smiling. When the rescue team approached, Elias opened his eyes slowly. Blue light glowed inside them. He spoke with calm kindness. "You don't need the helmets anymore." Then everyone inside the station heard it. One enormous inhale. The walls expanded. The floor pulsed beneath their feet. And Oxygen Lab X3 finally took its first full breath.